Loving someone who is a narcissist or who is influenced by the Jezebel spirit can be extremely difficult because these individuals are typically extremely self-centered. Everything is about them. It's all about how you can help them. And in the event that you cannot help them or you can no longer service them, you typically see a very ugly side of these people. My name is LK Way. I am the wellness writer for the True Age Now blog, as well as the wellness coach for my own personal wellness brand, Well House. And I want to talk to you about Narcissist, or AKA Jezebel, and how we should love these individuals. Now, one of the things I want to emphasize is that love does not mean doing whatever they want you to do whenever they want you to do it. This is typically how these individuals feel love is. They feel like if you don't do whatever I ask you to do, whenever I ask you to do it, you don't love me, you don't care about me. And in the event that you cannot do something that they need you to do or want you to do because it's not in your best interest to do so, you will see a full-fledged manifestation. They're really known for throwing temper tantrums, like full throttle temper tantrums or manifestations where that Jezebel spirit will manifest, and to trying to make you feel bad that you're not helping them. They'll guilt trip you. They will bring up old stuff. And it really hurts because typically these people are people that have done great things for you in the past. They've given you things. They've been there for you. They've helped you out. And it seemed like there were no strings attached, but you realize when it's time for you to pull out, if it's time for you to shift gears, if the path for your life has changed, if the Lord is calling you to do something different, you will realize that they're not so great about it. They will manifest, they will get upset, and sometimes the manifestation won't come right away. Sometimes the manifestation will come later, where they try to adore themselves with makeup, so to speak, put on this nice mask like Jezebel did in the scriptures. When confronted or when she knew people would come to talk to her, she'd adorn herself and make herself look all beautiful. And that is just a guise. That is just a method of further manipulation. So typically and I shouldn't say typically, but oftentimes most of the time, when you are trying to withdraw from a Jezebel or you can no longer service them, you will see them try to lure you back in with this sweet, awesome facade. Do not fall for that. It is important that you keep your boundaries and you not stay entangled in harmful situations, in a harmful relationship with a Jezebel or a narcissist. You need to keep a safe distance. Loving someone does not mean not respecting your own boundaries and allowing them to do whatever they want. Loving a narcissist or a Jezebel means that you are indeed loving them from afar, that you are not allowing their destructive nature to influence you. Around people that are dealing with Jezebel or influenced by the Jezebel spirit or narcissistic, you have to look at them and understand that they have a disorder. Narcissism in wellness circles has been classified as a disorder because it has been scientifically understood, as people have studied the mind and behavior, that this is detrimental behavior. This is dangerous behavior. This is behavior that is harmful to other people that are around this individual's life. But when it comes to loving that person, it is still something that we could do. So let's understand this. The scripture says, do not tolerate Jezebel. So we are not to tolerate her in the sense that we are to pull up with any of the BS or the bull crap. I shouldn't say BS, but bull crap that comes from that person that's influenced from that spirit, right? So you don't have to be like a puppet and do whatever they say whenever they say and being yanked around by them and allowing yourself to be manipulated. You can set proper boundaries, disengage from this individual like you need to, and you can seek the Lord on how to do that, how to get wisdom on how to leave a Jezebel. I actually have a video on how to do that, and basically it's just leaving. But once you've done that, the way that you love that individual is you love them from afar. You set proper boundaries out of respect for yourself and love for yourself. When you love them, you have to first forgive them. If this person has done things to you that are very harmful, that have hurt you deeply, that have made it difficult for you to interact with them or be around them without getting upset, then you need to first forgive that person. And if you do not know how to do that, you need to consult the Lord and ask him to help you in your heart on how to forgive that individual. This is why, and when I talk about wellness, I deal with spirit, soul, and body, because we are a spirit, soul, and a body. We need to really address all parts of ourselves for optimal well-being. When it comes to forgiving someone who is a narcissist or influenced by the Jezebel spirit, you are going to need the grace and the help of the Lord to help you forgive the person, especially if they have caused you deep emotional wounds, which more than likely is the case, because Jezebels and narcissists are excellent at psychologically and spiritually abusing, or sometimes physically abusing, those around them. Set boundaries. That does not mean they come over without calling. That does not mean they come over when they want. That does not mean you're obligated to do everything that they ask you to do. That means you set a boundary, and oftentimes that means that you are safely distancing yourself from that person. But what does that look like, though, as far as the love portion goes? Well, first of all, forgive. Ask the Lord to help you forgive. And then secondly, when you love them, that means that you're not holding malice or contempt in your heart for that person. So when you think about that person, when you think about what this person has done, you need to be able to have a compassion for that individual and have the understanding that this person is spiritually or compromised in their soul. They're compromised. A person who is influenced by Jezebel has been compromised. They have an evil entity that is influencing their personality. Now, some personalities make it easier than others to be influenced by Jezebel. Am I blaming all their terrible traits on a demon? Absolutely not. But some of our personality traits that we have make it easier for certain entities to influence us. So if you are already self-centered, or you already think you want things your way, if you're already a person that operates in manipulation, then it makes it a lot easier for that spirit of Jezebel to influence you, because you already have those traits operating within your personality and within your heart. So if you know someone like that, the way that you love them is you have to get the understanding what you're dealing with. You're not dealing with flesh and blood. You're dealing with the spirit, and to an extent, right? To an extent, because a part of them is flesh and blood. And even for the flesh and blood portion, the Lord says to love those that spitefully use you. So we're not to tolerate the spirit Jezebel. That's where the distancing comes from. The Lord says in the scriptures, do not tolerate Jezebel. So we're not to put up with that spirit. We're not to submit to that spirit. We're not to let that spirit make us feel fear, anxiety, worry, or confusion. These are different emotions and things that you may feel if you're dealing with a person that is a narcissist or influenced by Jezebel. And at the same time, you are to love those that spitefully use you. Jezebel spirits use people spitefully. So you're to love them. You're to pray for them. You're to, when you think of them in your heart, not to hold ill will toward them or wish them harm. That is how you love somebody. You genuinely wish them well. You genuinely hope for the best for them and understand that they are like a person that has a mental illness. This is how the Lord told me to look at it when I was dealing with Jezebels in my life. He said, you have to look at this individual as if they have a mental disorder. Just like how you would treat a child that has a mental disorder or some type of physical limitation where they don't know how to, operate and do things properly. They might throw things or say things that they shouldn't say. You're the adult, so okay, put that down. Okay, sit down. You know how to deal with that person, right? Because you have the understanding that they have a mental disorder. Essentially, that's how you have to look at a narcissist or a person that is influenced by Jezebel. Again, with keeping the safe boundaries. Again, with not doing what they ask every time they ask you to do it, because there is a spirit of manipulation that is around these individuals that will try to pull you in so that you can be used to their benefit. You have to keep a safe distance. But what I'm telling you this for is I'm telling this so that you can have the right perspective on how to look at this individual. You have to understand what you're dealing with. And the Lord also gave me another two other things I'm going to share with you. He showed me that these people will often smell something stink, because I had an encounter with someone who was influenced by Jezebel. This person's actually still is at this time. I don't know if they're still influenced by Jezebel, because I'm not part of this ministry anymore. I left a couple of years ago. But the Lord, I asked him, I said, how is this person a leader of a ministry and doesn't know that they're dealing with this spirit? And the Lord told me it's like someone smelling something that's very stinky, but they don't realize they're smelling themselves. So I'm like, oh, wow, because they're lifted up in pride. And this person also is dealing with the spirit of religion. So it's even more difficult. So oftentimes these people will not even realize that they are the problem. They just simply don't see it because pride has blinded them to how they act and what's operating inside of them. So you have to have that understanding that they are unaware of how they are truly influencing or affecting people around them. You have to rise above the negative emotions and the negative way that these individuals make you feel and realize that you are indeed dealing with a spirit. He also gave me another vision Before I had my own experience with Jezebel and a narcissist. I'm not really going to get too much into that. I'll explain more in detail about me later. Right now, I'm just talking about how to love a person who is influenced by this spirit. And I had a dream about a black wolf with yellow eyes, and it was just looking at me. Way later, I found out that that was a Jezebel spirit. I actually thought it was like maybe a witch or something. You know, I'm like, what is that? I know it's evil, but I didn't really know at the time right when I had the dream what it was. But later I learned that, oh, it's a Jezebel. And it was representation of being a Jezebel spirit, false prophet. Jezebels are able to prophesy. They're able to, they're very charismatic. In the scriptures, we see that Jezebel called herself a prophetess. So she was somebody who did prophesy. And we also see in the scriptures that there are false prophets, and they're compared as raging wolves, right? So I had seen that wolf, and sometimes individuals don't know they're a wolf. That's what he showed me. He showed me that of the wolf. And then he told me that sometimes these individuals don't know they're a wolf. So you have these people that are narcissists or influenced by Jezebel that know what they're doing. They do not care. And then you have some individuals that are not aware that they're being influenced by the spirit, or they have these traits that the spirit has attached itself to. So I hope I provided some insight on how to love a person influenced by Jezebel or who is a narcissist. You have to have the boundaries. Do not think that loving them means that you don't have boundaries. Have your boundaries. It does not mean that every time they call, you have to answer. They may call and you may not answer. Loving a person who is influenced by Jezebel or a narcissist does not mean that you're always available when they call on. You may not be available ever. The Lord may have instructed you, or you may just know it in your heart that you need to have a hard stop and have nothing to do with this individual. That's the case in my life. I said, you know what? I have to put this person way on my outer circle. I'm not going to have any dealings with this person, but I'm going to hold this person in my heart. Oops. I'm going to hold this person in my heart. I genuinely care for this person. If this person needs help, I'm going to help this person. And a sense that I'm not doing what they want me to do. I'm not being manipulated. When I say help them, I'm honestly saying when the Lord is telling me I need to help them, and not necessarily when they're like, oh, can you do this? And can you do that? And I need this. And can you do that? You know, most likely you're still going to be saying no to that. But if you feel that tug in your heart from the Lord, then you can oblige and help that way. And I think that's it. There's something that I was going to say, but I can't remember what that point was going to be. Really, what I'm wanting to make sure that you understand is that love does not mean being a doormat. It does not mean doing everything that they say every time they ask you to do something. This is vital. You have to not tolerate that mess inside of them, but you also can still have peace in your heart and truly have love for that person in your heart by not allowing that demonic entity or the negative aspects of their personality take away your peace. You have to understand what you're dealing with. They do not know they're unwell. They are ignorant to that. They do not realize it. And the last thing I'm going to say, because this can be hard to really understand in your mind, because people that are dealing with a Jezebel spirit or who are narcissistic are very intelligent. They're typically very smart. They're very intelligent. They have great influence. They're very charismatic. They're extremely likable on the surface. They have a magnetic way to draw people into them. All right. But then you get a little bit closer to them and you start seeing what lies beneath the surface. You begin to see that that's kind of a facade or a show or a mask. And that's not truly who they really are. All right. So you have to understand that loving someone like this does not mean just doing whatever they ask. It means keeping a safe distance. It means forgiving them in your heart if they've done something bad to hurt you. It means understanding that you have to see through that facade of them putting on this great intellectual show of being so smart and so intelligent, and it can kind of baffle you a little bit when you see someone that you kind of hold in high regard, or who comes across as really having everything all perfectly together, but yet they're being influenced by Jezebel. That can be quite confounding, and that's part of why a lot of people feel very confused when they're dealing with a Jezebel spirit or a narcissist, because you get baffled by that display of intelligence, that display of charismatic attitude, the love bombing and the great compliments that they give you. And it's like, what? How is this somebody with a mental disorder? How am I supposed to look at them as somebody with a mental disorder when they seem to have it all well put together? They don't. They don't have it all well put together. They don't. They're just really great performers. They're just really good at covering their insecurities. They're just really good at making it look like they're very confident and they have it all together when they don't. Respect your boundaries. Respect your boundaries. Enforce your boundaries. Forgive them. And when you think about them, when you come before the Lord, do not hold hatred and ill will towards them in your heart. Understand that you're dealing with someone who is not well. And that is how you love somebody who is influenced by Jezebel or who is a narcissist. I'm LK Way, and I hope this video was extremely helpful for you. Like my video, subscribe to my channel. Please share this with somebody who you know will benefit from it. Have a great day.